Hello, today we're talking about Harry Potter and the Order of the Phoenix. This is the first Potter movie directed by David Yates, and all of the subsequent Potter movies will also be directed by David Yates. And I think he did an incredible job. Granted, they're darker and for a more grown-up audience, but the movies David Yates made are probably my favorite in the series. He also made the 2016 Tarzan movie. Do you guys remember that? No, you don't. Don't lie, you don't. David Yates is also responsible for the Fantastic Beasts movies. I think the failure of those has more to do with the story than the directing. But I'm probably going to make a massive video on those movies when the next one comes out. And I'm pretty sure there's like 5 of them being made. Like who, what? So in the beginning of this movie, Dudley and Harry run into Dementors after Harry gets bullied by Dudley and his friends. I guess Dudley's like a cool kid somehow, and he has a bunch of friends? How? Anyway, when they're getting attacked by Dementors, Harry doesn't even think about using his wand until he's like on the brink of death. It's so weird. When 3 minutes ago, he was about to use it on Dudley for bullying him. His priorities are a little weird. Don't bully me, dude, or I'll send you into the stratosphere. But if a Dementor comes out of nowhere and starts sucking the soul out of my ass, then I'll think about it. I'll think about using my wand. I know he's not allowed to use it, but come on, dude. Like, come on. So yeah, obviously Harry uses his Patronus on them, and this propels the movie forward because he gets in big trouble. So Harry gets expelled from the school because of this. When Uncle Vernon learns about this, his reaction is hilarious. I love the way he says justice. It's so good. Justice. Justice. This guy's face, oh man, he is perfect for the role. They couldn't have found a better person to play Uncle Vernon. It's just not possible. If you were to ask someone what the rules are as far as magic goes in the Harry Potter universe, most people wouldn't be able to answer you because there simply aren't any. Sometimes muggles can see the spells, other times they can't see the spells. Sometimes wizards can open walls in front of muggles and they won't notice. Sometimes wizards can run through walls and muggles won't notice. Other times muggles will notice. But they don't really explain why these things happen. It's just magic. Personally, I prefer magic systems that are more complex. I know that takes a lot of the mystery out of it, but personally, I'm willing to sacrifice some mystery as long as the world makes more sense. A great example of a story that does this well is Patrick Rothfuss's The Kingkiller Chronicle. I absolutely love the magic systems in those books, but I definitely see why people would love the magic in Harry Potter, because it's whimsical, it's magical, it's fantastical. It doesn't make sense because it's not trying to. It's just magic. So this movie is much darker in tone than the previous movies. In the beginning of this movie, Harry attends a trial. So yeah, obviously if they're bringing lawyers into this, it's not gonna be for children, so. And who is Harry's lawyer? Oh, he doesn't have one. Just kidding. It's Dumbledore. Albus Wulfric Percival Brian Dumbledore. I love how one of his middle names is just Brian. I'm sure there's some HP lore that I'm just not familiar with, but what were his parents thinking? Why throw the Brian in there? Like, this dude has 9 names as it is. Just take the Brian out, all the other names sound cool. And I like how the Ministry knew that Dumbledore was going to try and get Harry off of the hook, so they changed the time of his trial at the last second. But Dumbledore still found a way to get there on time. Those bastards, oh my god, they're so dirty. This movie introduces us to Dolores Umbridge. I don't think I've ever hated a character more than Dolores Umbridge. Some people come close like Ramsay Bolton from Game of Thrones, but goddamn, this woman, she is so hateable. It's impressive. Imelda Staunton, you did amazing in this role. I don't know what it is about the Harry Potter movies. I know I'm repeating myself, okay? But these movies were cast so well. It's so impressive, honestly. This woman is obsessed with order and making sure everything is in its correct place. Oh, she also likes cats. There's 1 million kittens on her wall. They're probably all slave kittens stuck in these pictures, and they're all screaming to be released. I just made that up, but I'm pretty sure that's accurate. So before Harry goes to detention for saying something about Voldemort existing, Dolores is shown straightening a pencil on her desk because she loves order and structure. But then they cut to a different shot and the pencil is not straight. You didn't think I would notice that? She just straightened that pencil. Look at it now. Why isn't it straight still? What? This is the type of bullshit I won't abide by in these movies. Disgraceful. In this movie, they also introduce us to the blood-born Pegasus. They're called like pastorals or something. They can only be seen by people who have witnessed death or have acquired enough insight, if you will. This is a very Bloodborne-esque creature. I'm a big fan. Although there's a part where people fly them later, like kids who haven't seen death. So what, they're just flying nothing? They climb up onto nothing and it starts to fly? That's probably kind of scary. And how do you not bump into these things, huh? They pull carriages all over the place. I'm sure these kids must bump into them sometimes, you know? But no, they just don't know what they are. They don't know how these carriages are being pulled. They're magic carriages. No, you're telling me these kids never once tried to walk in front of the carriage where these creepy Pegasus things are? I call bullshit. So Hermione scolds Ron for eating, and it is hilarious. I always forget how funny these movies can be just by people's reactions to things.
Do you ever stop eating?
I'm hungry.
Just the simple reactions that Ron gives sometimes are so funny. I couldn't help but think about this, okay? Imelda Staunton, the actress that played Dolores Umbridge, she must be very famous for this role. She's married and has a single child. I'm just wondering, say her child like smoked a little bit of weed or something and her mom yelled at her. Do you think her kid calls her mom Dolores? Whenever she's in a fight with her mom, do you think she just says, "Shut up, Umbridge"? I don't know. She's probably like the sweetest woman on earth. There's a part when Professor Umbridge literally measures how tall Professor Flitwick is. Oh my God. Like as if his height has anything to do with how well he can teach a class. And of course, there's the infamous scene of Dolores Umbridge trying to banish Professor Trelawney off of the grounds because she deems her useless as a teacher, I guess. This was such a great tactic to make people hate Dolores Umbridge. Oh God. Because Professor Trelawney is kind of quirky and strange, but also really lovable. You can tell that she's in love with the school. This is her home. Her entire life is this classroom. So just seeing her standing out in the courtyard, feeling completely helpless with her little bags, is so sad. It gets me every single time I see this. And then the absolute queen, McGonagall, comes out and defends her, and then Dumbledore comes out of nowhere and saves the day. It's a really impactful scene. Since Harry knows about the rise of Voldemort, he doesn't want himself and his fellow students to be defenseless. Dolores Umbridge works with the Ministry, and she believes that everything about the Dark Lord rising is false.
This is a lie.
So she completely changes the defense against the dark arts class so that the kids aren't actively learning spells. Instead, they're just reading textbooks. And obviously, Harry doesn't like this, so he creates Dumbledore's army. That's what he calls it, even though Dumbledore doesn't know it exists. Weird name to give it. Whatever, they like Dumbledore. One thing I find kind of strange is that they write down all the members of this army on a piece of paper. Like they title it Dumbledore's Army, and they list all of the kids that are part of this group. There's no way this could possibly be used against them later. Of course, it is used against them later, and it forces Albus to leave the school, so Dolores can take over as headmaster. Why do they have to write down the names? Like, I'm sure these kids will remember that they're a member, right? You don't have to write it down. And if you have to write it down, use magic to like password protect it on a piece of paper or something, so no rando can just come along and read it. Yeah. I gotta say, the Room of Requirement, just the idea of the Room of Requirement is very cool, and I think it works wonders in this movie. It's an interesting concept, and one that I think is pretty sick in a world where people can use magic. Filch is kind of onto the kids. He knows that they're up to something, so he sneaks around and tries to follow them. He basically just does the Burger King Sneak King walk when he's following them, and it's so funny. Like, come on. It's so animated, but it's so funny. So the Weasley twins leave a heart-shaped box of chocolates for Filch. And he's like, oh, it must be for me. What the hell? Like Crabbe and Goyle did the same shit earlier. How come whenever these people find a random snack just floating there, they're like, oh, yeah, I'm gonna eat that. So then Filch gets these massive boils all over his face, and one of them pops, like, was that necessary? I gotta say, Daniel Radcliffe's acting has improved a lot since the last movie. In this movie, we learned that Harry's dad was a bullying asshole, which I think is kind of neat, because obviously we were led to believe that Harry's parents were perfect, when obviously they weren't. They had a lot of flaws, just like everybody else, and when Harry learns that, it kind of like shatters his perception of them, and he has a hard time believing it. So yeah, I like that. So then there's the Weasley fireworks display in the testing room, and it's amazing. The kids lead Professor Umbridge into the forest because they promise her there's this secret weapon that they're hiding in there somewhere. Obviously they're lying. She gets taken by centaurs and it's the best moment in movie history.
Tell them I mean no harm!
I'm sorry, Professor. I must not tell lies.
There's this interesting spell that Luna Lovegood uses in this movie. It's this spell called Levi Corpus, and she uses it on a Death Eater and sends him flying up into the Nether Realm. He presumably floats up and drops to his death. Oh my god, why aren't more people using this spell? Screw stunning someone. Just send them all the way up into space. Harry Potter and the crew are in this prophecy room. All of these glass balls are random prophecies, and they destroy all of them. Pretty much, like there's billions in this room, and they're all destroyed. Good work, guys. I know they're trying to escape and survive, but yeah, that's a lot of lost prophecies. I hope none of them matter to anybody, because sorry. There's a part in this movie when Harry Potter uses the Crucio curse on Bellatrix, but it doesn't torture her. Remember when Mad-Eye Moody used it in the previous movie? When Harry uses it on Bellatrix, she just doesn't care, I guess. Maybe she likes pain. She's into it, you know?
I'm not a sadomasochist.
There's a duel between Dumbledore and Voldemort in this movie, and it's awesome. Throughout this movie, Snape was teaching Harry how to battle people who are trying to infiltrate his mind. And later in the movie, Voldemort tries to infiltrate his mind. And during this part, there's a flash clip of Voldemort with his tongue out going, "Teh!" It's so funny. This is just one of those moments that I never recall when I think about the Harry Potter movies, but now I will always think about it. It will be in the front of my mind whenever I think about Harry Potter. This random small clip they inserted during this scene, that really does nothing for the scene. It just makes it hilarious. Oh my god, play it 3 times, please. It's so funny and out of nowhere. Like, they couldn't have found better footage of Voldemort to use here? Make him do this weird thing with his tongue and what? Why? It's interesting, at least. At the end of this movie, Cornelius Fudge finds Voldemort. He stares directly at him and he's like, oh my god, he's back. It's pretty funny. Although, how would he know what Voldemort looks like, right? Like, this is Voldemort's reincarnated version. I'm pretty sure before he had a nose and everything, right? Why would Cornelius Fudge just randomly come to the conclusion that this weird snake man is Voldemort? What? Overall, pretty good movie. I liked it. But yeah, there's a lot of iconic moments in this movie. But I gotta say, the inclusion of Umbridge really took the cake as far as villainy in these movies. While Voldemort is obviously evil, Dolores Umbridge is the most hateable character on Earth, basically. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. I really appreciate it. If you're interested, the links to all of the Harry Potter videos will be in the description, as well as the video that I made on the Fantastic Beasts movies, which thankfully remained monetized. I don't always lose. If you like Harry Potter, you know, fantasy and sci-fi, things like that, then there's a good chance you'll like my clothing line, Alien Clothing, AYYLIEN clothing.com. We sell a bunch of really cool designs over there that I think you might like, so check those out if you haven't. That's AYYLIEN clothing.com. Thank you so much to all my patrons that make videos like this possible, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye. Whoa. Wait. I was sitting on it the whole time? Come on, dude. It's been like 3 weeks since I recorded the last session, so I thought it would be funny, you know, with my beard growing out. Let's do a time travel meme. And then I realized that that wouldn't work because when you use the time turner, no time would go by for me, really, you know, like the world around me would go and I would stay the same, right? So it doesn't make much sense. And if you compare my facial hair now to, you know, 3 weeks ago, it's not even that different, so this meme was kind of a fail. I tried, okay? I tried.